What's up, world? Michael EJ here, coming to you with another video in the field of finance, business, and life. And today, we're going to take a different turn, kind of break down a basic economic concept using Michael Jordan and his Jordan sneakers. Now, we all know about the different stories about the Jordan release dates, the lines that wrap around the building, the fighting that goes on. And last week, I wasn't expecting to, but I was in one of those lines. I was caught in one of those lines for a limited release of one of the most popular shoes in a new color. The shoe, the Jordan 11s. And look, I got a pair. Very expensive, but nonetheless, I was in the line myself. And while standing there in the cold, waiting hours on end just to get inside of a store, hoping that my size was available for these shoes, I had a thought. Nike and Michael Jordan, they're geniuses because they created a Goldilocks situation of supply and demand. Let me explain to you how. So, going back to Economics 101, and all businesses are run like this. I mean, when it comes down to it, you always need to think of your business in this way, the way prices are. You need to always think that it's explained by these two things. Pricing is a combination of supply and demand. Plain and simple. It will always come down to supply and demand. Now, for these Jordan sneakers, because it was Michael Jordan, popular brand, the demand was already high. Demand's already up, just because. Demand's already up there. Now, Nike did something very smart, I want to say about 20 years ago. And it started with these shoes, actually, when they was first released 20 years ago. In that they only produced so many of the shoes. Like they limited supply. So they pretty much kept supply down. Demand was very high, and this was a Goldilocks situation because prices are correlated inversely with supply. So more supply, lower the price, and directly with demand. Higher the demand, higher the price. So this meant high pricing, right? Well, what Nike ended up doing instead is they set like a price limit. So if you go back in time, the most these Jordan release dates, the most these shoes would sell for from a Foot Locker or from a Finish Line, for example, well, maybe about $180, $200. That's usually how much they would sell it for. So the demand was always there, limit supply, pricing goes through the roof, but they put a cap on pricing. It created a secondary market for Jordans. So there was a lot of people out there that would stand in the line in the cold, freezing, rain, no matter what kind of weather was going on, buy a couple of pairs of Jordans for maybe $160, $180, turn around and try to sell them for $300, $350, $400. And they were selling. This created a whole entire underground market. There's sneaker summits where you can buy some of these shoes. There's different places online. You can buy special edition Jordan shoes. I mean, it created all of that. And what Nike didn't realize is that, or maybe they did, by limiting the price, it actually increased demand. That's increased the hype. So whenever any of these shoes were released, I mean, everybody was staying in line. They're trying to get the price. They're trying to get it for $160. And if they can't, most people wouldn't mind paying the $300 for it. I mean, most people wouldn't mind it. But because of that, it was really smart. You limit supply, you have a high demand product, and you set a pricing point where anybody can, well, almost anybody can afford them. And there's also a market beyond where you can buy them for more expensive if you want it. I mean, it was perfect. And it created more demand, a long-term demand, which is very hard to do as a business. It's easy to have, one product or something that's in vogue or in fashion. But to have it over a sustained period of time, that's impressive. And I give credit a lot to Nike for that. But Nike started to get greedy. They started to get greedy. They started to fall off. How they started to get greedy? Let me just erase a lot of this. Nike started to get greedy when they increased supply. People always forget about the supply side. Everybody focuses on demand. Demand is so popular. Everybody forgets about the supply side. Once they start increasing supply, because remember, with those Jordan lines, the release dates, there was a lot of people that ended up not getting shoes. A lot of people were disappointed in the beginning. Less and less people are disappointed going forward, maybe over the past year or two. There's more and more shoes being sold on the initial release date. Because of that, that kind of takes a blow to the secondary market where you can sell these Jordans for $300, $400. I mean, so a lot of people at Nike probably didn't realize that that secondary market actually increased demand, made it even more popular, and sustained the demand. Now that you've increased supply, and because of that, demand has come down a little bit, it has led to decreased pricing. Now, when I say decreased pricing, it's not for all shoes. For example, these are known as Retro 11s. 11s are the most popular brand. I mean, they're the most popular shoe. These will always have high demand, no matter what. But the other ones, not so much so. I mean, you got 13s, okay, the demand will always be there. Maybe 12, 8s, I think the demand will always be there. 7s, maybe so as well. 4s, yes. But then your less popular ones, or not as popular. Your 3s, your 6s, your 7s, your 14s, anything beyond 14 that Michael Jordan actually never wore in a game. Or maybe worn when he was with the Wizards and nobody was paying attention to. Those shoes, they need this. They need that limited supply. They need the long-term demand to already be there. Because they're not going to make it. And I started noticing that when I just did some research and saw that, hey, you can buy a pair of retro 6s or 7s for about $100 that were lightly worn. That easily went for $200 maybe 3 to 5 years ago. And then the worst thing I saw was my brother went to a Nike clearance store, one of those Nike factory stores, and bought a pair of retro 5s like $70, $80 from the retro store. Man, that's Nike trying to get rid of inventory. It's gotten that bad. Nike got greedy. They messed things up and they got greedy. They're trying to correct it now, but that's where they messed up. That's where they truly messed up. Always remember, every price that you see comes back to supply and demand. You might not believe it or not, but I mean, it all goes back to it. And when you're able to create enough demand and limit supply, you have a Goldilocks situation. That's what's happening with Bitcoin. I mean, if you want to take it there, remember, there is a set supply of Bitcoin minted. I mean, they're not going to erase it. So now that the demand is high, or higher, it used to only be used by conspiracy theorists and drug lords. Let's be honest. That's what Bitcoin was used for at first. That's what it was used for. Now, it's used more by people who actually believe in it, that aren't trying to do sneaky things, but just use it as a separate asset class. And now look, Bitcoin shot through the roof. It's a set amount. Because of the set amount, pricing is going through the roof, as well as it's created demand for other cryptocurrencies. Like Bitcoin started it all. Like if it was enough Bitcoin out there, Ethereum and Litecoin and all the other initial coin offerings that are happening now wouldn't exist. Like Bitcoin started it all, and it continues to create it all. The same concept. You limit supply, you create a demand, pricing, and potentially longer term demand will persist. That's what I have for you today. I was just trying to bring different concepts in a different way. I mean, we all, to an extent, can relate to both Jordan, can relate to Bitcoin, and can see other things in our lives where demand is so high that if you limit supply, pricing just going to shoot through the roof. And if you limit pricing, it actually creates long-term demand. It's a different concept for you all, looking at things a little bit differently. That's what I'm all about. My name is Michael EJ, continuing to bring you different ideas in finance, business, and life. Let me know in the comment section